that next pick from Ice Age here. Still a lot on the table, everything but that Gilgamesh. Likely to be seeing that in the jungle. So anything open at this point, as we are seeing a little bit of a discussion on what that next pick will be.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options here. Still a lot of very strong gods coming out. Definitely like curious. What are they looking for? Are we looking at like an Ishtar ADC? I know that's a big T pity pick.
On
Looks
her.
like it might be the on her instead again. Very aggressive god
Ares.
in that lane, and just double it up. Why have one aggressive when you can have two aggressive gods in the duo lane?
Yes, aggression being the key word there between the Ares and the on her. A lot of pressure going to be in that duo lane for Ice Age so far, regardless of where that Charon goes, whether it be mid, support, or solo. I think that is going to be a hard matchup early game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ares on are just so incredibly dominant in the early game in that laning phase. The Gilgamesh too, whether it's in the jungle or in solo, can get a
A
lot done
Wheelix.
off of a couple good leads early. And Willix, what a great counter pickup. You have the Gilgamesh leap, you have the on her leap. So Willix gonna be able to get a lot done without relying on teammates to set up.
No setup from either of the picks so far, but definitely a good matchup into both that on her, that Gilgamesh going to be able to get those ults off pretty consistently. Does make her ganks a little bit easier as well. And we're going to start into the second wave of bans now. The first one we're going to see Going Ghost electing to ban out the Achilles, and Ice Age going with that Jing Chan, which is rising in popularity.
Yeah, Xing Chen in the solo lane after that buff. You don't necessarily hit that 100 HP 5, but just with Conduit Gem right now, Guardians feel so good there, and it's just a really good ban there. He has the knockup, he has the big team fight ultimate. Wouldn't mind him being paired with a Charon, so good ban there.
Absolutely. A good choice there from Ice Age as we see Going Ghost electing to ban out the Merlin in the last spot, and Ice Age, with their final ban, will elect to target that Kukulkan.
Yeah, Merlin, something that I know Jolt practiced just a little bit in some casuals. I think Escrim as well. So definitely Going Ghost been doing their scouting, and Kukulkan great last ban. What does Kukulkan do in a team fight? He blinks in, he presses 4, everybody gets knocked up. That's free eats for a Willix.
Absolutely, you want to make sure you preventing the choice and ultimate between everybody there on the team. And we're going to be heading into that next pick. We see the
Nike.
Nike going to be hovering, and it is locked in. Dave going to be pulling out most likely that Nike, and this does kind of flex down that Charon into either the mid or support position.
Yeah, definitely limited away from that solo lane. Not too surprising. His best role is probably mid, to be honest. I think he's just insane. I feel like he could be a mage, but they said nah, nah, nah. Let him be a guardian. And Nike, great pick. Synergizes really well with the Willix, gives them a big frontline presence, which they're going to need into such an aggressive team from Ice Age.
Absolutely. Now, Ice Age looking hard here at their solo lane, and also in the
Shock.
mid, we're seeing that AMC hover by Jolt. I know that's a pick that all Jolt fans are excited to see again after his recent performance with
Mastercard.
it. And Chalk going to be a nice early game, bringing that pressure to Nike, going to be able to kind of most likely get that lane pressure.
Yeah, AMC definitely one of Jolt's signature picks. You can like
Ganesh.
listen to their streams and it's just like the bees, the bee. just a psycho in the mid lane there. Rounding
And
out with
then
a Ganesha though.
yeah, and that Ganesh definitely favored amongst the Walker division, has a lot of utility in that Kid, especially with that silence, being able to just interrupt, kind of cancel what everybody's doing as far as abilities. So definitely something that'll be an interesting matchup here as we see Shrimp taking that into the duo.
Yeah, and that looks like it does secure us in for that Charon mid, unless we're seeing like a Nike mid, Ganesha solo. You can get funky with it, but I don't think they're going quite crazy just yet. Overall, I mean, these are two pretty strong team comps. I think I'm gonna have to give just a slight favor to Ice Age, even though they do have that 4 physical comp.
Yeah, for physical comp, but also that AMC ult still going to be able to strip away some of that, and just the damage that I've seen Jolt be able to put out on that pick. I don't think that's going to necessarily be an issue. Obviously, Ares is still going to bring plenty of damage to the fights, especially if he's consistently landing those chains and those flames.
Yeah, definitely a lot to get done. But I mean, Going Ghost, they have the ability to just pick out one team member. Nike leaps in, gets a knock up, they're pulled by a Willix, and they're just locked down by a Ganesha. There's a lot of potential there. I think it's just harder to execute. So gonna have to give my favorite over to Ice Age. I definitely think that it's just a stronger team for them specifically.
Would have to agree with that, especially like I said, I'm just a big Jolt on AMC fan. I know that he was a monster in the set that we played against him, so I'm excited to see how that performance goes in this one.
Yep, definitely excited to be able to get on in here in just a minute or two.
All right. And we are looking into the game here, kind of starters. I don't see anything too egregious coming out from anybody thus far.
I can see something egregious there. They're not lined up properly, and I want to cry.
That definitely sounds like Nayuki. Yes, of course, opting for that starter second slot.
I think that just
Definitely
makes you
triggering
lose the
for some.
game. I think that just like you lose the game on the spot when you do that. So looks like game number one gonna be an Ice Age victory. You don't even have to watch the rest of it.
Oh, it certainly could be. We know T Pity is very comfortable on this and her, one of his better picks. So, looking forward to seeing how this dual lane matches up. He has his in the right order, so that is a plus. However, gotta land those autos still.
Landed some autos, good impale through the wave, hitting the Ganesha as well, and stop you getting maybe a little too aggressive here. Losing a lot of health, but zoning him off the wave pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting now some of that regen coming back, but a lot of pressure coming out early. Serdono's not able to connect that Bramble Blast there. On her, still kind of waiting for the teammate to come back, but A's able to chunk down CERN quite a bit. As we see Ares finally coming back in, gets a couple chains. I know a Wheelix would have popped over that ward, so the Ice Age will be aware of this.
Yeah, that was a good call from Stop You to go ahead and put those put those awards down. Make sure that they would have vision. Make sure they're not going to fall for that early gank because Ares is so susceptible in the early game. You get one or two stuns on him and he's just not getting back to that tower.
Absolutely. And as much as we talked in the pregame, or I talked in the pregame about Chalk getting the early pressure, right now, Dave getting the better end of Captain Boat here in the solo lane, at least pressure-wise, a little bit poked out. Of course, Chalk will have that sustain to kind of clean back up a little bit, but early game, surprisingly going to that Nike at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Boat definitely not having the greatest time in lane. Nike just kind of doing Nike things, and you know, I don't know if I love the bluestone from Chalk.
Yeah, certainly could be a better, they're served with a Warriors actually, I don't know, different starter. But he's at least making it work. Eventually, those bluestone ticks will start to hurt as we do see Jungle Scrub coming in for that early gank. Does manage to get that knockups. We're seeing getting very low as that chalk and should be the first blood here, but actually manages to juke the Willix, and now just kind of running for their life, hoping that they can get somewhere under
Not even
tower.
close. Not even close. That's just free for a guy like this, like Captain Boat.
Captain Boat making those Jukes shoes look like his everyday wear. So, meanwhile, in duo, of course, we do see, like we had kind of predicted, the Ice Age team now starting to get a little bit more of that early pressure, starting to push those waves towards the tower, making that life a little bit harder for CERN.
Yeah, definitely looking to just push this early lead. Gotta love Stop You. Like I get like they're at their tower, but like what if we had some farm? Gotta respect it.
Absolutely. I mean, even though it is still the early game, getting that on her to that level 5, having that ultimate online will be very helpful in what Ice Age is looking to do on this side of the map as we just continued back to the wave. A missed chain there from Ares. We're not going to count that against him this time. Everybody misses one, I'm sure. And horrific coming out in response.
Right. Ares is in a little bit of trouble here. But good autos from Pity, making sure they can't chase him for free. You're gonna be taking that damage.
Absolutely, having himself a really good early game performance, probably keeping that Ares alive there, letting them get that sustain up. 'Cause in the mid lane, we do see AMC having a slight lead over this Charon mid and getting a little bit of pressure, as we kind of mentioned there. Jolt on that AMC is not to be messed with.
Yeah, Charon, his early clear, pretty awful. I was playing it the other day in a casual, and he just does not clear the wave early. You know, he has to use like 2 abilities to do it. Doesn't happen very fast. Good invade comes out from Len, grabbing that purple buff and not even thinking about contesting it. Just no, you got it. We're just gonna get our farm. Gilgamesh is so strong in the early game.
Absolutely, making that early impact known. That is going to put, of course, Pity ahead. Ares and on her able to split both of the buffs there. So going to be hitting that level 5 a little bit, or able to use their level 5 a little bit sooner, whereas the CERN is going to have to play a little bit more careful. Not having that buff is going to be a little bit scary into the dual lane.
Yeah, it doesn't have his buff or his support in the lane over there. Do see Shrimp back to go ahead and start stacking up that Thebes. And it doesn't look like Stop You has any thoughts of leaving that duo lane.
Absolutely, I would not want to be at this point either. I would want to be trying to get that early game on her online, making sure that he has that solo kill potential coming through.
Why is AMC so fast, man? Why do Hives have to give so much move speed? Like they're like even glancing at him and he's just like, no, I'm in a different zip code. It's not fair, man.
Not close, no. Abilities are already very easy to hit, so obviously AMC needs to be able to zoom around so that he cannot get hit by easy abilities.
Mhm.
All jokes aside here, we are seeing just a little bit of a gold lead actually for Going Ghost. As in the mid lane, we do see the beads forced there by a good Ganesh dash silence. So coming out and taking those beads off of Jolt is going to enable Jungle to come in and hopefully follow up on that within the next few minutes, or next minute and a half here.
Yeah, should hopefully be able to abuse that. That's one of the things that, I want to see Walker players start to do more, is abuse those cooldowns. If you get beads off of somebody, come back for them. Go ahead and abuse them even more. Kill them for it. Ooh, good stinger onto Ganesha. Could spell disaster, and it will jolt first blood.
Absolutely, and Ares right behind Awilix using those chains to make sure that she can't jump in after Jolt. Gonna force that the beads out, I believe, from the Awilix, and still taking a ton of damage. Excellent there, appeal by the Ares. Good awareness to follow that Awilix in towards that mid lane and prevent the return kill.
Yeah, definitely. Stop You consistently one of the better Walker supports. Just everywhere he needs to be, making sure he's on the threat that matters. He doesn't need to go help kill that Ganesha. That's in the bag.
Thurn gonna commit the ult now and the Bramble Blast, but he is kind of pushed up. Does not see that the Ares is behind him. Ares gonna connect that chain. A couple minions left in lane though, and those flames are gonna tick.
Why does Ares do half of an ADC's health in 2 abilities? Like who decided that?
I don't know. I wish I could have a friendly conversation with them. All good things, I promise. But it is really unfair to be on the receiving end of the chains and the fire.
It's just like I as a support player, I love Ares. I love Horus. Gods that just do an unreasonable amount of damage for no good reason.
Nike, despite the gank, looking to try to finish off Captain Boat here, but instead Lenkanu is going to pick up the kill onto Dave. Just a little bit long there. Chalk just enough of a heal to live through the wave.
Simply a chalk differential. He has the heal. He has the extra protections coming out of his torrent.
Meanwhile, Jolt almost getting another kill.
There you go.
Is going to come in and take a tower shot to get that ult back. I think that's a fine trade for a little bit of your health to get that cooldown.
Oh yeah, to knock it down from like 45 seconds to like 15 seconds, worth it any day of the week. Especially,
Absolutely.
if you're not going to get punished for it. That's the big part.
Certainly
No jungle
case.
scrub lurking in the jungle. Alright, we got this.
Absolutely, and again, the dual lane opting to split those buffs, kind of pushing that a little bit further here, as now we are seeing a little bit of a gold lead put up by Ice Age, about 1100 or so, roughly in that neighborhood. So at this point, that kind of those early kills starting to mount up. We have about 1600 XP, about 1000 gold. So we're if you're Ice Age, you gotta kind of like what you're seeing in this early game.
yeah, just slowly getting things done. Lead definitely could be a little bit bigger, but you know, it all starts somewhere. You know, you just gotta keep pushing it. Just get your finger on the gas pedal. And just say, oh, yep, we got two ADCs. Maybe you know we look for a kill over here in duo, and then we take the Gold Fury nice and early.
Yes, Gold Fury most likely on the minds here. Should be on the minds of Ice Age if you're looking at it with the two hunter composition. Those things, those early objectives tend to fall very quickly.
Yeah, definitely very
As he,
capable to do. Little kick
Lencon gonna
away,
be,
not gonna be able to grab that kill just yet. Winds
but
of
is gonna bring
Shamash.
the and the tower
That's
dive.
not
Jolt,
fair.
meanwhile, is going to pick up Deacon in the middle lane. We do see Lenkanu too poked out to continue the dive under tower, but is going to pick up that totem for his trouble. And what just fell? Look at that. It is the Scepter. We're going to go ahead and pick that up as well. So despite not securing that kill, continuing to push that farm a little bit more. And again, the whole time we had Jolt pick up another kill.
Yeah, big solo kill too. Just taking Deacon right off the map, and that's the power of AMC ult. It just does so much damage. At this point, it's probably already hitting for like, you know, 300, 400, and it shreds all your prots, you're crippled. He just used like one ability in a couple autos, and Ganesha's is like a third health.
Absolutely, just unfair at this point, kind of pushing that lead forward. Already up 2 levels on the Charon as the Ares ult going to force out the beads of Nayuki in duo. So now that's CERN again having no resistance to the next pull, the next bit of CC. That should be Lenkanu should be having the alarm bells go off. Purple buff invade not successful this time around, as we did see the Awilix come in and secure that. But
Oh
again, if I'm
no.
Lenkanu. Oh, a
Oh
tough
no.
spot. And if I'm Linkanu, I'm killing Shrimp Warrior. Obviously, that's the plan. But I'm also looking at Nayuki again here soon. This Cernunnos should be playing very carefully in duo.
Yeah, gonna have to be careful. Does not have the safety of those beads. Doesn't have the safety of a support as he's taken off the map. Good beads comes out. Stinger lands.
Oh, one more. No. Oh,
Got
he
him with
does
the
pick it.
bees.
That's definitely a good trade there. Able to trade the 1-for-1. Doesn't have the shutdown bonus on him, but in a 2v1, if you can trade out, you're probably not feeling too bad about it.
I mean, on the other hand, Deacon gets the shutdown bonus on him. He had just ticked over to that 3-kill streak, and in the meantime, we saw Devo go ahead and grab a solo kill over in the solo lane. And I mean, with that Jotun start, you're so strong early.
The damage, the sustain that you can get off the wave is pretty incredible as we see that Cernunnos come out, ult come out rather, just to secure the shield buff away from T-Pity, trying to get some neutral farm here, and so just trying to kind of push that forward.
Yeah, trying to get what he can done. Still around a half a level or so down, but you know, it's not bad yet. You know, you can recover from that no problem.
Absolutely, as we're seeing, of course, the Anhur going to be backing after that. Cernunnos, both of them finishing up that Executioner. So we're going to see this duo lane continue to be even between these two hunters. Obviously, a slight edge to Anhur since it is still in that early portion of the game at this point, kind of transitioning towards that mid game where you start to see him come online. Meanwhile, in mid, as we see this beacon coming up here, a little bit of a grouping from both teams. Lenkanu going to go straight for the Awilix, and Jolt going to pick up that kill. Great kick into the wall there. Karen Old going to be coming out as we see the Ganesh ult also, but Ares going to be pulling back too here, and a lot of damage going into that Ganesha.
Yeah, a lot of low health bars here, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to die. Len going to go in, but will he be able to get out for his troubles?
Len very
No,
low
he will
is going to
not.
be picked up. Now Jolt in a little bit of trouble as well as Dave gets a double kill. Now it's just the Ares here against 3. T-Pity has not rotated out, elected to take the tower instead. Ares tanky, but can't stay in the fight forever, so we'll have to back up. At this point, though, Going Ghost not electing to try and just immediately capture that beacon, instead trying to push the wave first before they go back to that.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, good play. They have a nice lead here. You know, stop you can't stop them from getting that beacon, even if they do take a second. And getting that little extra gold off the map for Ice Age is just a good boon for Going Ghost.
Absolutely trying to close up a little bit of that gold lead that Ice Age has developed here. Again, sitting at about a 2,000 experience, about 1,600 in the gold. And that's without a Gold Fury going down or really a big objective, just that beacon. Really it so far.
Yeah, it's just good farm out of Ice Age. Taking all of their farm on cooldown, doing their best to get neutral camps, and I mean they do have a kill lead. You know, they 7-4, and you know, Going Ghost wasn't able to get anything really done after that beacon fight. You know, it wasn't like, oh yeah, we can go to Gold Fury and get this game back to completely even.
Absolutely. Just trying to take a little bit of a chip off of that lead that Ice Age just made. Since just trying to bring the game into a little bit more of a manageable state. As back in duo lane here, we see that T-Pity does still have a little bit of that lead. Does look like Lenkanu is on the way, so T-Pity trying to make sure he uses as much of his resources early. Does have the Winds of Shumash here, going to throw that out. That is going to be a lot of damage, and even the Wild Hunt coming out in response does not matter. Lenkanu picks that one up.
Yeah, doing what he can to try to stay alive, but not going to be too effective for him there. Ganesha might be the next target here. Thermic Pillars are used, but Willix Beads Forced Shrimp Warrior going to be taking the big spill there.
And Willix still likely to fall.
Ooh. Still dodging a little bit. Stoppy going to pick that one up with the flames, and 3 people dead on the left side of the map. What do we do here?
Absolutely has to be this Gold Fury. We're going to leave Jolt to zone out the mid. No, he is going to come back in here. It is only the Charon that's local, but I wouldn't want to step up to this one with 4 strong. We have the Nike rotating from the back, but does get spotted out because, of course, that Chalk is right behind her. So Dave getting very low may end up costing them their life. Does force out that ultimate from the Nike as well, but is able to at least avoid majority of the damage now, but is going to turn around and try and fight this. And that's going to give the easy kill to Jolt.
Yeah, you can't step back there. You were all the way out. You're a mile away from the other team, and oops.
In the meantime, here we are seeing Going Ghost going towards the Pyromancer in response. Ice Age not on time to be able to defend that. However, Jolt is now here against 3.
Jolt, what are we doing, buddy? Wait.
Looks like buying time for the team to get here is going to be getting lower and lower, but not so in danger yet as we see the good body box coming out of Chalk hits the dash, and that is going to be a kill to Jolt. And now Ganesha on the chopping block. We are going to see the Wild Hunt in response tries to peel out a little bit, but Sununo's even getting low a little bit now, forced out of the fight. So a big win. Jolt's gonna get hit. Jungle Scrub does actually pick one up in response. So an excellent job there by the Wheelix. Unfortunate timing for that ultimate.
Yeah, uses the beads and Aegis to buy time for the team to get there, and turns into a good fight. But can't turn your back on a Willix. You know that is the major blunder there.
Looking to get punished out for the split push for that time. Did get a lot of damage chunked into that tier 2, but now having to run away from the Nike. Looks like that next leap is going to be able to secure it unless Cernunnos wants to go investigate his purple, which could be possible. I don't know. You're 2 levels down at this point. I don't know if it's the smartest play to be trying to be on the enemy side of the map. However, they're lucky Lenkanu is not there. And it does not prevent Ice Age from picking up either of their buffs.
Yeah, definitely good call from him to, try to punish that, T-Pity is about, half health or so, but 2.5 level lead. He has backup. It's just not a fight he can take, and it's good on him for realizing it.
Definitely a good job there by Nayuki to just kind of turn tail once he saw that Ares was there. Tried to at least throw out the poke to steal, but not able to secure anything there. As we see in mid lane, Jolt's going to be a little bit more aggressive into this Charon, and being able to pump out a little bit of damage already at half health is going to be Deacon on that Charon. But now 3 people in mid. Here comes the ultimate. Is it going to connect? No, AMC, of course, obviously the movement speed just going to allow him to easily avoid that. No shot that ever connects from that far away, especially when he sees it coming. And still, just taking the attention of 3 people, allowing his team to do other things on the map. Ares in left with Pity, just kind of pushing down that tier 2, now starting to make that rotation out. Meanwhile, Wheelix very low, and Jolt is going to be able to clean that up. Doesn't even matter that there was 3 people in his lane. He just needs a little help from the jungle, and he will come at everybody. going to be able to get the double kill onto Shrimp. As meanwhile, in solo lane now, we see the tide's a little bit turning as we see Chalk finally getting the better end of the Nike here.
Yeah, getting it done. Not liking what I'm seeing in the build though, you know. I don't think that you really want to go into prophetic in that third item slot.
Yeah, certainly could be other better alternatives, but at this point, just I guess trying to get at least some semblance of magical defense online against them. As we see the Lenkanu gank coming through, going to be hit the drop kick into the wall. Likey trying to force them under tower. Is going to take one tower shot, will this Chalk, but not enough to secure the kill. As we see that's Rivers ult coming through yet again. A little bit too soon there on the teleport. Captain Boat does not avoid the wave, but not enough damage quite yet to take down that Chalk.
Why is there an AMC solo invading red, man? Joel, you gotta knock it off, buddy.
It's criminal.
Do
This
see
was-
the entirety of Going Ghost looking to punish out Stop You and Lenkanu over here. Good
Gonna be
good awareness to just pull them away from the team. You're like, this might not be the good fight. We're just gonna back it out of here.
But now the fight turning a little bit better as Lenkanu going to take out Jungle Scrub. Those chains preventing the Awilix from being able to get away. And now Ganesh in a little bit of an awkward spot here as we see that
no
damage
dash
start to be poured
available.
out. And Captain Boat going to pick that one up. Now Nike in a little bit of trouble, gets the kicked back, but does have the leap available. Gilgamesh going to land right into that fear and be able to knock back, take a Chowa shot for his trouble. And Nike still standing strong, albeit at very low health. Is going to try and go on the AMC, but Jolt has tons of damage for her whenever she's ready.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just tough, you know. Obviously, you can't just let Ice Age be in your back camps. You know, you can't let them be sitting behind your blue. You know, you can't let that happen. But at the same time, you know, we're looking at 7,000 gold difference, 12,000 on the XP, only 20 minutes in, and that's a pretty big deficit. You kind of just have to, in my opinion, be where they're not. You know, oh, they're all in right. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the left lane. Maybe look for this Gold Fury.
Absolutely, and you'd have to at this point if you're going Ghost, because you don't really want the Oni Fury at this point coming at you. All those tier 1 towers down, you could lose a tier 2. That tier 2 in duo is on its last legs already, so something that could easily be leading to a Phoenix taken on the far side before Ice Age even looks at a Fire Giant.
Yeah, definitely. Stinger off the mark. Awilix going to get out with, you know, only half health missing instead of, you know, the entirety. Good trade there.
Yeah, definitely a good trade for the Awilix, as we do see that Oni Fury pull. However, going Ghost local and in the area with 4, we finally see Lenkanu coming in to try and zone out the Awilix. Here comes Nike around the backside. Ice Age does get the Oni Fury, but the fight afterwards starting to break out. Ares getting low, Gilgamesh getting low, and Nike is going to go ahead and pick up Lenkanu. Dave gets 1. We're seeing finally though the backup arriving for Ice Age. Ares ult going to come out and he's going to pull everybody back. Now it's just an amount of how much splash damage we can get. Ares starting to get very low on her ult, also coming out, but able to get over the wall. Meanwhile, Nike trying to run down the eye on her is going to dive under the T2. Ares is also there. The pillar, or the impale rather, going to be able to push Nike away. And during that whole time, we do see Dave going down. We see Len, again, like I mentioned earlier, going down, and then also Captain Boat getting killed. So coming out of that, a 2-for-1 trade, Oni Fury going towards Ice Age.
Yeah, good trades from them. Definitely very strong fight from Going Ghost. They say, oh, no, we can't get the gold, but yeah, you know, you're not too healthy. We're just going to run you down and get 2 picks, and then just get a little bit too greedy. Davo not able to find that kill under that tier 2, ends up losing a little bit too much health.
Absolutely. It does make this a kind of a questionable position for Ice Age here, not able to kind of immediately start up on this Fire Giant, even despite the fact that they now have those Oni waves, which could put pressure, and if left unattended, will definitely take that tower.
Yeah, definitely getting a little bit of pressure here. It looks like everybody's starting to meander over toward this Fire Giant, but you know, definitely not as quickly as I would have liked to see it. You know, you have a pretty big lead, you have double ADC, you can shred that up really fast.
Yep, instead allowing a Going Ghost to really clear out these Oni waves. Obviously going to lose that tier 2 in duo, but As far as mid and in solo right now, those waves are now gone, and they haven't even pulled the Fire Giant yet. So a little bit of a timing issue there for Ice Age, not being kind of around that objective timely enough. Because now we do have a little bit of a defense setup for going Ghost, as we see, of course, their support Shrimp still in the mid lane trying to get those waves, and we have Nayuki just trying to get some farm, trying to get closer to that level, that full build slot rather. In still nobody quite there yet. Lucano also all the way in the left lane trying to prevent their tier 1 from going down. Does actually save its life. Now we see a fight breaking out over Beacon in mid. Ganesh already getting very low as Jolt able to dish out that damage with the Stinger. Arizalt going to go ahead and pull the Ganesh back. We are seeing Jolt get one. It is starting to get a little bit low as Nike's here and CERN is here. With the fight continuing, we do see the Aegis forced, and there is going to be the Awilix. Does not get the knock-up and is diving now under the tower, so not going to be able to last for a while as we see Jolt picking up Jungle Scrub there. And now the fight is definitely over, and if I'm on Going Ghost, I'm trying to run away.
Yeah, unfortunately, just doesn't go your way. Shrimp gets really caught out on that beacon. Just, oh hey, oh no, there's an Ares and an AMC here. Guess I'll just die.
I don't. Beacon probably not the play there as we now see that transition over to the Fire Giant, of course, with the first death coming just back up, another 25 seconds on Jungle Scrub. Shouldn't be much of a contest here for Going Ghost, as we do see that Cernunos did try to go in, now extremely out of position from the backside of the Fire Giant, does eat everybody's everything and is able to go down. Jolt picking up yet another kill, sitting 11-3 on this AMC, which was kind of exactly what I was looking for at the beginning of this game. Jolt on this pick has been insane.
Yeah, just doing so much damage. I mean, well, if you look at the damage chart, and it's not even close. He's 10k over next. You know, Devo doing a great job on that Nike, but Jolt is just a different animal on the bees.
Absolutely, and coming through, they are able to immediately take out that tower. This is a non-enhanced Fire Giant, so we're not going to see too much of a Phoenix Siege, instead electing to at least get this tier 2 in mid, before they elect to push any of those Phoenixes. But they do have this Fire Giant buff for quite a while yet, and that tower melts. And then Nike going to be caught out a little bit. Can't get back because of those change. Also going to be the Ares ult. Does have Sentinel of Zeus ready, but very low. A little bit more damage. Actually going to be Stop You that picks up that kill. And the fight continues under the Phoenix. Now we have the Awilix getting low. Then Kanu's going to pick up one. The Wild Hunt does come out, but not enough damage quite yet to force them off. Phoenix starting to be looked at. Finally, minions coming in, and that is going to be the mid Phoenix also going down. CERN has to be careful there, has to dash away. And now, Ice Age still grouped up. Health bar's a little bit low, but that Fire Giant sustain will help.
Yeah, definitely in a good position, but doesn't look like they're feeling comfortable enough to go ahead and knock this one out. I don't hate the idea, you know. I think that they realistically could have pushed in, you know. They have Captain Boat pretty healthy. Jolt and Pity were both, you know, relatively full health. I definitely think that they could have looked for the end there.
Instead, electing for the safer option, going to back up and pick up the Primal. A little bit more time on that Fire Giant before we start to see it kind of tick towards the end. So picking up that extra objective, just kind of giving them that much of an edge on the next Fire Giant. When it does respawn, well, it's not going to hurt.
Yep, do have to love our lovely spectator, Mr. Nacho, pointing out how much gold Ice Age had in their hands. All the members had almost like 3,000 in hand. You know, just some ridiculous gold numbers. So glad that he's able to point that out. They did need to go ahead and spend some gold to really finish up those builds.
Getting those starters leveled up. The Benevolence coming out of the Ganesha, they're still not upgraded, as we see, of course, Ares already having the full build, already having that upgraded starter. So you see a little bit of a difference in that gold lead on the support side, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do love the mid guardian coming out to help deal with, you know, the triple auto attacker comp, but you just have to be getting those support starters upgraded early. They give you extra gold so you get to finish the rest of your build afterwards. So really want to be getting those as soon as you're able to.
Absolutely imperative to making sure you're kind of staying in these games, having enough money to be able to having enough gold to finish out your builds. As we see two now pushing down the solo side, however, three-man or two-man response here. Nike ult going to be forced out after the Stinger gets dropped. It is going to force out the Aegis from Jolt. And oh my, Jolt is just dishing out the damage. He's going to give Captain both the double kill. More members of Go and Go showing up. Jolt's going to be able to pick one up. And now it's all of a sudden it is just the Ganesh against Jolt. And that's not a situation you want to be in if you're Ganesh.
Oh, so there's only 2 Guardians left against 5. Jolt, why? Why you gotta do him like that?
Absolutely.
That was a 3v2.
Oh my. And we do see Ice Age securing that first game there. An incredible performance from Jolt. 12-3 on that AMC. Lenkanu also stacking up those kills, 7-2 on that Gilgamesh. But everybody on Ice Age really coming through and making this a good team win.
Yeah, definitely strong performance coming out of everybody. I mean, you know, we look at StopU 3-0-9 on the Ares compared to his 1-0-9 ADC. Like, get active. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Stop split pushing and do well.
You know, I would take 1-0-9 over the 1-3. So, you know, it comes and goes. It comes and goes. So, you know, in this one, it was just a good team effort there by Ice Age as we see huge numbers coming out from Joel doing that 46,000 damage, almost 47k on the AMC in player damage.
He's only 18,000 over the next person. No big deal.
Massive.
Pity at the bottom over there, you know, 13,000 compared to, you know, 15 out of StopU. So I think we see who runs that duo lane.
Absolutely, and we had a lot, definitely a lot of damage coming out from everybody on Ice Age. So, like I said, very coordinated team effort. Going to be going into that game 2 here shortly. Going to throw it to a quick break while we get everything set up and ready to go. And we will be right back. Alrighty, everyone, and thank you. Wade, your patience as we come back to Frank's retirement home. This is going to be again the Walkers division, Going Ghost versus Ice Age here. I am Paradox, once again joined by Ruler of Men, and we are going into game two. Heck of a game one that we had. Ice Age picking up that victory, and when in response we see the immediate Amazem cap ban.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them. Every time Jolt has locked in that AMC, he has looked like an absolute monster. So, target ban, definitely like it there. And then they say just keeping with the same flow. Oh no, still gonna get rid of that Vimana.
We're going to see the follow up with the Thoth once again. Bologna coming out in that second spot this time, I believe, was the third band last time. So pretty similar bands that we're seeing. I think all the same still, but a little bit could be a little bit of that change. As this time, obviously the AMC coming through in that first slot. But other than that, these being the same ones that we saw in the last game.
Yeah, and everything looking pretty standard. I mean, if you're playing against Ice Age, you got to be worried about what Jolt's doing. But I don't know if necessarily he's the one to ban. It's such a hard call. Do you ban their strongest player that has a deep god pool, or do you like ban somebody that's gonna struggle if you ban a couple gods?
Right, and I don't think Jolt is somebody who struggles if you ban just a couple gods. However, I also don't think that just dedicating every ban to him is the answer either. As kind of we learned in our set when we banned him, I think gave him 4 bans and he just went to a disco and just continued to frag. So we are seeing though 3 so far coming Jolt's way, and the third one being the form of that Kukulkan, and then we are waiting on Ice Age's third ban before we see what the first pick will be for Going Ghost. It is going to be the Erlong ban, so I don't believe Erlong was banned last time. So got to be a specific reason they're looking for this. Is more of a than just a throwaway.
I know exactly what that Erlong ban is about. So last week, Going Ghost, they played like Warriors and
Gilgamesh.
ADC, and that was the pick that Nuki looked the best on out of that ADC role. So getting that out of there, and then taking the contested Gilgamesh pick immediately. I love it.
Absolutely, acting as a fourth ban essentially against Len Kanu. Of course, he's maybe going to be able to beat those one-trick allegations if we can see what he pulls out. In response, though, Ice Age going to lock out the Hachimon and the Ares. So another really good kind of aggressive duo lane. Hachimon obviously still in that same place he's been forever now. One of the safer hunters, just does everything pretty good and is really just something that all ADCs are kind of forced to play at one point or another.
Yeah, I mean he's just probably the best ADC right now. I mean it's pretty hard to argue. Does just a ton of damage, has a great kit, boosts the attack speed of everybody else around him. Nice safe CC and ultimate. A funky little dash. His dash isn't the longest, isn't the shortest. Has some weird mechanics on the stun. Sometimes you'll hit one and you're like, oh, that's surely a stun, and it just isn't. But definitely
For no
just a very
reason.
strong god. It just feels like it's a coin flip sometimes.
It definitely does. And in response, we are seeing the Kuzenbo lock in with the Ryzen Guardians in solo. Could be a solo laner, could be that support pick. Does pretty good into the Hachimon if you can just stand in front, absorb those autos with your Reflect. In the meantime, we're seeing a Morgan
Morgan
Le
Le
Fay
Fay.
hover.
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay hover into a lock, and that's one of Deacon's specialties. Just sits back, throws out a bunch of CC, a bunch of damage, and has great tools to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, definitely a good pick here. We see in the Mulan hover, though, over in the solo lane. Let's see if Ice Age locks that in. If so, definitely a strong top 3. A lot of dive with that Mulan as she continues to kind of, and we do see it locked in. So a lot of strong dive with that Mulan being able to kind of charge in, get those abilities off, get that ultimate off, and Ares and the Hachimon able to really follow up well off that kind of dive.
Yeah, definitely very aggressive off the bat. 3 gods that are just pure W key monsters when they want to be. Hachi able to get in there with that mounted archery, get a bunch of slows going. Just a lot of aggression coming out of that Ice Age side, and I mean, Gilgamesh has a lot going too. Very strong front line with that Gilgamesh and Kuzenbo.
And we do see another one of those warrior ADCs banned away. That Alma going to be gone, and then the response going Ghost going to be electing to ban out that Merlin yet again from Jolt, not wanting them to pick up his new comfort pick. So now again, 4 dedicated bans to Jolt. We'll have to see if that pays off for going Ghost.
Yep, already up to 4. One still remaining though. Could see it go to the full sweep. Hit that 5 target bans onto one person.
And in
That's some crazy territory.
Yeah, it would be an interesting one to see, especially in that Walker division. All 5 bands going to one position, and then probably Jolt still picking something that he's comfortable with. Is my prediction there if that does happen. Disco still available. Obviously, had himself quite the game against us on that pick. So, we'll have to see what it comes through. On her going to be the last ban for Ice Age, saying that they are not able to take that almost Hachi counter pick to allow him to have a bad time. And it is going to be a 5th ban towards Jolt, rather, excuse me. You could argue it's a jungle ban, but the Poseidon going to be the last ban there for going Ghost. All 5 being towards either a mage or a mid lane-esque position.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of targeting going on. Could say the same for Ice Age, you know. I mean, they banned 5 auto attackers, just 4 of them are warriors.
Yeah, so very dedicated bans. Each team coming in with a plan on who they were going to make not have a fun time in picks. Now we're going to start to see that next round, the final round of picks. We've got 2 left for each team here. So just waiting to see what that next one is going to look like. Obviously, right now, we don't know what Going Ghost's comp is going to look like. Probably the Gilgamesh jungle, Kuzumbo, like I said, obviously in the support or solo, and then Morgan Le Fay likely going to the mid. But we do see Ice Age locking in the Yu Huang. So Joe just going to something else that he can put out a ton of damage on.
Yeah, Yu Huang definitely, I would say, really good into the Gilgamesh and Kuzumbo, just able to, press 3 and say no. Oh, you wanted to like hurt me? I'm up in the sky. Sorry, buddy. I'm out of here. Cthulhu though, recently buffed, and I think he's exceptionally strong as a solo laner.
And a Kali hover here. So potentially changing it up. We could see the Gilgamesh ADC, although I don't like that one as much. I have seen Kali ADC in the past. I think that one would make a little bit more sense. So likely seeing, I would have to guess, probably the Gilgamesh jungle, Morgan Le Fay mid, Kuzumbo as that support, and the Cthulhu over in solo lane with that Kali ADC.
Certainly, what I would think it is, Nuki just allergic to playing meta ADCs. I don't think that's true. I mean, we've seen him play the Stern last game. We've seen him play on her in the past. They're just trying some new stuff over there and going Ghost towards the end of this season, and I don't mind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying a few things, pretty certain of their position as being one of the better teams kind of towards that top half making their way. So trying these non-standard comps definitely something that we don't mind seeing at this point. And we are seeing Ice Age going back to that chalk again, although looks like maybe the chalk could go back to solo, could also be the chalk jungle or the Mulan jungle. So we'll have to wait and see which one we're gonna get here, see which one Len Kanu is gonna want to take.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it is gonna be that Mulan jungle, and I love this Chalk pick. You know what Chalk does? He slows down your auto attacks. What's like the biggest threat on Going Ghost's team?
Definitely
Akali
the
at the end of a fight. I think that's a really good pick. They're able to just say, no, what if I just put some rain down and you couldn't auto attack the right team?
Yeah, got to make this college job very difficult in those team fights. Probably going to have that chalk in their face, slowing down those autos, getting the silence, putting out the damage, and it's just incredibly unfun to deal with if you're looking to play that Kali, that short range ADC, the melee, not exactly the easiest to chew through a chalk. So going into this next game, game 2 here, Ice Age up 1-0, and just looking at this team comp, I would have to give the edge to Ice Age a little bit more standard. They have the objective secure a little bit better than I would say, and honestly, we'll have to see if Going Ghost can kind of pull this out of the pocket and steal one, so to speak.
Yeah, I think this is pretty close, comp wise. I mean, obviously Going Ghost a little non-standard, but you don't practice against non-standard. Could very easily see them, get an early lead, get a Fed Kali, and just tear through Ice Age. So, gonna be one that we're gonna have to, stay on the edge of our seats for.
We look so looking through these two teams here, just kind of getting into game, we'll be able to look and kind of see how this plays out. I'm excited to watch this matchup. Anytime we're looking at some non-standard Smite, I'm a big fan of being able to watch it. I'm always rooting for off-meta things to be successful. So I'm really hoping that we get a good solid game two here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these are both very strong teams, so should be, pretty close either way. Shouldn't have to worry about anything too crazy going on.
All right, we are just now waiting to get into the game here, kind of looking, loading up. Looks like we were kind of right. We are seeing that Mulan go into the jungle there, as you had mentioned, Ruler Chalk back into the solo lane. We're going to see the kind of exactly as we called it, that Cthulhu solo. Then, of course, Jungle Scrub going to this Gilga jungle, Morgan Le Fay in the mid, and then, of course, we do have that Kali ADC.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one to watch over in the duo lane. I mean, Kali Kuzma, not the greatest of clear potential, but very scary on their kill potential. They're not worried about out clearing you. They're worried about just running up to you, kicking you in the head, and saying, "Oh, you're on the gray screen now."
Yeah, so definitely going to be the challenge here for Pity to make sure he's playing safe, and what a pick to do so on that Hachimon. Going to be able to get distance, kind of wait out for that Kali leap, and then be able to dash away, ride the horse away, etc. So we'll have to see how that duo lane breaks down. Meanwhile, other matchups around the map, kind of pretty standard. Chalk, Cthulhu. Cthulhu, we're always looking forward to seeing him after that recent buff. Very excited to see what he brings to the table, and then from there, that mid matchup also going to be imperative this game, getting that Yu-Wang into the position where they can really start chunking out with those ults.
Yeah, definitely going to be a tough one to get there. It's gonna take some time. Ah, man, it's so tough for me to like wanna say who's better here, because like that Cthulhu recently buffed. He's so scary.
It would be very frightening to try and play against the Zilverman duo. We are seeing Ice Age coming out with a slight pressure lead, kind of be expected, Kali not having the best level 1 clear in the game, so we are seeing that Ares Hachimon lane be able to bring that wave pressure at the early point.
Yeah, definitely big gap in the clear between these two duo lanes. Not gonna be seeing anything too crazy come out there.
And we did see a little bit of a mix-up, or maybe intentional, as we see Yu Huang having the speed buff and Mulan ending up with that red buff. Sometimes stuff happens, you get that wrong buff early. Once again, Chalk, early game here, and quite a little bit of trouble, is taking a lot of damage from this Cthulhu, and will go down as Dave is going to pick up Captain Boat for the first blood.
That was tough. The dash knocked him over right away from the tower line. A little bit further to the side, and Devo would have knocked him right into safety. That's unfortunate.
Almost there, but not quite enough as we see Going Ghost getting that first blood. Meanwhile, in the mid, seeing a little bit of pressure going the way of Ice Age as this Yu Huang is starting to kind of get towards that point. Gilgamesh going to try and leap in, but not able to find a ton of success. A couple missed abilities, and we are back to neutral there. Zenduo, we are fighting over the shield buff. Going to be the Kuzenbo dash. I think able to secure that, yes, for the Kali there. Despite the 3 extra wave minions pushing in, Kali able to get that neutral farm online. So good job by Going Ghost, at least trying to get that farm, trying to maintain parity in this dual lane.
Yeah, they do go ahead and they get that little bit of extra farm. However, they do lose their horrific in the process. Kuzenbo not willing to really deal with all that damage, just says, "Get away from me."
And able to avoid those chains there as well. Meanwhile, Mulan looking to make an appearance in the solo lane. Cthulhu has not spotted her out. Is going to have to turn and dash immediately. The pull does not connect, so going to be able to make their way out is that Cthulhu. And not a successful gank this time. Meanwhile, in duo, the Kali down to about half health, still taking a lot of that wave pressure and having to really wait to come up and secure that wave.
Yeah, that's the problem with these, unmeta ADCs where you just don't have the clear. These warriors, these assassins, they don't have the clear, especially in the early game, unless you're playing set. Set is unfair.
Absolutely. And then, especially when you're able to just be the Hachimon, stay safe, you have those long range autos, you're never really under much of a threat as long as they're not trying to actively run at you. And right now, that's not really something that Going Ghost is able to do.
Yeah, definitely not yet. I mean, definitely could see a little bit more pressure on the Ares coming out. You know, you'd have the nice Kuzenbo dash, get him out of position, doesn't have any movement to get himself back out, so definitely could look to see them do just a little bit more on that front.
Absolutely, as we see Going Ghost yet again taking that shield buff, but in the meantime, I believe it was the Naga going the way of Ice Age. So a little bit of trade on the neutral objectives, and then Ice Age going to be able to pick up their set of buffs. Meanwhile, it's going to be Jungle Scrub actually on this. Excuse me, on the Gilgamesh coming over to split those buffs with the support. So a little bit more farm going the way of T-Pity on that Hachimon as he's able to clean everything up. Meanwhile, in mid, Morgan Le Fay going to be able to have to commit the ult rather just to avoid those dragons. Almost gets taken down, but just enough of that CC immunity to not get pushed back.
Yeah, just barely able to skirt around the side of that, keeping
As it's
himself
solo.
safe.
Solo here, Chalk getting very low again. Cthulhu trying to map out the damage, does actually find it with that bomb coming down. Dave gonna pick himself up another kill, already sitting at 2-0 on this Cthulhu, having himself a great laning phase.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these Guardians. You know, you haven't seen a lot of them in a long time. You know, all of a sudden Conduit gets buffed in. These gods that you're not used to playing against are all of a sudden coming back out.
Gank here from Jungle Scrub going to force out the Ares ult and the Horrific Emblem. However, yet again, Hachimon T-Pity being able to stay safe, not in any danger of going down. Didn't take basically any damage, and now just going to go right back to trying to pressure that wave.
Yeah, interesting choice from Jungle Scrub to actually go ahead and beat that Ares ult, you know. Definitely think that when there's no real threat of follow-up there, you don't have to go ahead and expend that resource.
Uzenbo forced to ult there as Kali was taking a lot of poke. A couple more minions left there that Ice Age will have to clear out, but that shield buff finally going down. Meanwhile, Mulan now making the rotation in. Doesn't hit the pull, doesn't hit the first ability either, but able to still put up enough lane pressure. That's going to be the ult come out. Knockup does connect, but not really onto the Kuzenbo, who could have gone down there. Still sitting very low, but not going to be committed under the tower yet. As now we see Jungle Scrub also getting low. 3 members at half health or lower for Ice Age, and no kill, or excuse me, for Going Ghost, and no kills here for Ice Age. A little bit of pressure under the tower, going to try and keep the Kali, prevent them from backing a little bit, as we see T-Pity just electing to continue that farm, keep getting those minion creeps, and now the Kali going to have to finally back. Meanwhile, Mulan actually going for the invade on the speed buff. Is not going to get this buff, but hopefully able to get out here as we see Morgan Le Fay making that rotation in to try and catch up. Doesn't land on that third ability, but is kind of closing that gap, moving forward a little bit. We see the jump over the wall. However, Ares here is going to go ahead and commit that ult again. Jungle Scrub does pick up the kill this time, and now 3v2 here. Yu Huang going to go ahead and use that ultimate to try and get it. Jungle Scrub is going to get a double kill, though, and not enough damage to get a return kill. Now, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Is this Yu Huang going to need to try and find a way out? But with 3 members chasing him down, I don't think he is long for this world.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out, and he is picked up in. That is the danger of trying to save your teammates. You know, it's Len made a bad decision, invaded the speed. Gilgamesh is there. Okay, that's cool. He dies, but instead they say, oh no, we can save him, and they end up losing 3, and you know they still lose Len. So got to be a little bit more wary about when you're using your resources to try to get somebody out.
Yeah, not the best trade there for Ice Age, losing a couple members and now going down 5-0 as Going Ghost looking to kind of push out there. A little bit of a lead here, sitting at just about 1,500 or so is that gold. And Kali still poked out, but is going to be able to back soon safely, I would hope. Going to be trying to clear out the purple, I imagine. Over in solo lane, that fight continuing as both solo laners kind of sitting around half health or less, fighting over that scepter. Looks like it may go towards Cthulhu. Gonna be Chalk trying to come in. But now with the Mulan here, looks like they're
Cthulhu
gonna have
dashes
to
in
get
at
the
just
ult.
the wrong time. That was a tough one. Dashes
Yeah,
in
that
and
ult.
there's just a Mulan on top of him.
Absolutely. The ult not enough to save them with such a low health bar. You want to try and maybe pop that a little sooner if you need to. But in the mid lane here, Ares is going to be landing that chain successfully onto the Morgan Le Fay. Going to take a little bit of damage. Going to force out that ultimate as well with the no escape. So putting out a lot of work, but taking some damage in response as Yu Huang not really in a position to provide much damage, is going to be able to root away Mulan coming in behind, but is going to eat that Kuzenbo push, going to force out another ult. Morgan Le Fay very low there, and is going to need to find just a little bit more damage. Len Kanu's going to find it there with that Mulan. Now Ares being pushed under tower, has to eat one, but will survive for the moment as Jolt is going to pick himself up his first kill onto Shrimp Warrior.
Yeah, good return from Ice Age. Immediately, they go down 5-0 and they just say, I'm not feeling that. Len goes over, grabs grabs a little bit of an assist on that kill. No, he grabs a kill in solo. Sorry, not an assist. My bad. Then immediately says, no, we can get things on in mid too. So just good play, and it evens the game out completely. Couple hundred difference. That's nothing.
Absolutely, and now Kali trying to freeze out a little bit this Hachiman, but Hachiman does have a little bit of the lead, able to kind of get away, not under too much threat, and able to pick that wave right back up. It's not going to push it under tower. Shield buff just now coming up. Instead, Pity is going to elect to actually go to his purple, clear that out, try and get more of that non-neutral farm. Meteor is going to be crashing in there soon, so we're going to have that Scepter spawning in duo lane with the Kali right there. We'll have to see how that comes up. Meanwhile, over in the solo lane, rather, we have Ares coming in, does connect it one chain, misses that second one, going to force out a couple abilities from this Cthulhu, who is starting to get a little bit lower, and is going to have to make a beeline for the tower.
Yeah, making sure that Devo doesn't have just an easy lane already, almost back to neutral even after 2 early kills. So glad that we're seeing them address that problem over there.
Absolutely, and that is going to prompt the Kuzenbo to come over and make that rotation. Of course, Chalk now pushed up. Ares going to miss a chain onto the Kali in duo, but over in solo, Chalk now in a little bit of a trouble. He does have that heal ticking and is going to be able to ult, hopefully getting that away. Gonna have to run back to the towers. That Kuzenbo, that watery grave is gonna come out. Chalk getting very low. It could be the tower dive here, but now the Cthulhu popped their own ultimate, and we are seeing the Chalk teleport away. Cthulhu now very low as Mulan is gonna come in, most likely to get that kill here. We are seeing Dave getting lower, and Len Kanu is gonna be able to pick that one up successfully. So kind of a nice turnaround. Chalk buying just enough time for Mulan to make that rotation in, and now Kuzenbo gonna try and get a dash. Is gonna eat another tower shot, so getting lower and lower. Mulan's still here, does connect the pull this time, and Kuzenbo is in a little bit of a trouble. And he's going to have to pop that horrific to try and get away, but still getting lower and lower. Mulan ultimate out is going to be doing a lot of damage, and the last ability is going to close it out. Len Kanu getting another kill, this time onto the support and Shrimp Warrior. And Gilgamesh is going to elect not to try and follow up.
Yeah, definitely good call from Jungle Scrub to say, it really doesn't work when we funnel in. It didn't work for Ice Age. It's not going to work for us either. Just going to leave that one alone.
Absolutely. Now here at 11.5 minutes, kill sitting dead even. We are seeing that Kali kind of still going over to that speed buff. In the mid lane, though, we are seeing the pull and the ultimate from Jolt connect, and down goes Deacon on this Morgan Le Fay. So now the mid laner in a little bit more trouble, going to be able to clean up those bastions, and that tier 1 tower is already under threat.
Yeah, tier 1 tower already not looking too good, and Len, a little bit of a slow early game, but this Mulan is coming online and looking scary. Ice Age looking to take down this Gold Fury as well. Do have 2 beefy boys on the way, but will it be enough?
Going to be the jungle electing to zone here as we see the watery grave coming out just to try and delay. However, Ice Age able to secure that against no damage coming from Ghost. Ares ult going to be pumped as well. Kuzenbo getting very low, and now we could see that kill coming out. Len Kanu is going to get one in this fight, get a scare off the Kali, and T-Pity's going to pick up Jungle Scrub on the back side of the fight. Now the Kali in a little bit of a precarious position, does force the beads away from Jolt, but with that beacon spawn, we're going to see Ice Age respond with 3 members too, so I would not be looking to take this fight if I'm going Ghost.
Yeah, and what a turnaround. Go from a 5-0 game to a 5-8 game. Ice Age saying, oh, you guys have a kill streak, we can do one better. Make that 9. Oh, there it is. Devo able to pick up a solo kill over in the solo lane, breaking that little streak of bad luck for going Ghost.
So in the meantime, Ice Age was able to secure that beacon. So now, especially in that mid lane, that tower is looking very squishy. Could open up this map to future objectives here if Ice Age decide to just come in and poke that down. No bastions left, so not a tanky tower at all. As we see Dave going after that totem, and about 30 autos later, we will see that fall for him.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed there is that, Pity didn't rotate, stays over there, gets himself some farm, and he's 3 levels up. That's a tough one to deal with. Gonna have to be pretty careful for Niyuki. Going to have to take his time to, scale back up to where he's really gonna be a threat.
And with Nayuki doing the green buff right now, this wave should take down the tower without a problem. So that is going to be the tier 1 in duo going down Ice Age. Be able to secure that extra gold for that tower. And now a little bit less safety for this Kali to kind of run back down the lane to.
You see, I think that's a bait, You let that tower fall down, all of a sudden Hachi pushes up a little bit too much, and you're able to really kind of pick him out. So, got to be careful whether or not you're punishing him for taking your tower.
Absolutely can be a little bit of a bait here as we see a little bit of a attempt at the blue buff invade. Looks like did actually go the way of going ghost. So going to be taking that resource away from the Chalk, going to be a little bit more difficult trying to get that mana back. But the fight's still going on as we see Ice Age now starting to kind of group up 3 versus 3 around the Fire Giant pit. And it is going to be the Gilgamesh taking a bit more of the poke. So going to be forcing them back a little bit as we see probably a dance for this Pyromancer.
Yeah, certainly looking to get a little bit more done. Ice Age looking to push their lead, grabbing some space, but I don't really see them doing too much without a pick here.
Yeah, and they are going to be looking for it. That Ares ult is going to pull in just the Kuzenbo, force that Morgan Le Fay ultimate yet again. Roderick Grave going to come out, trying to get Jolt a little bit less safe, but is able to get away for the moment. Still has that disappearance and able to cast it. Winds of Shamash now coming out onto a couple here as we're seeing that Ares start to get very low, but at the same time Kali in her ultimate also very low. Mulan ult also going to come through, but nothing yet. Stapu actually going to be the first one to drop here to Deacon, and now Mulan and the Yuhuang are going to have to be very careful with their positioning because we have the Cthulhu fully rotated in here. But Yuhuang, being ever saved, is just going to use that 3 to get away.
Yeah, another rotation out of Niyuki. Does manage to get himself some assists this time, so getting some value, but that lead in duo continuing to, stay around that 3 level mark. It's going to be tough for him to really come back before, we're at that 25-30 minute mark.
Absolutely, and now we see in response here, the whole time Captain Boat did not make the rotation into that fight in mid, has just been kind of farming up, able to get, looks like at least one Bastion, going to be taking that wave, kind of pushing things under tower, so we have to make sure that Dave is not caught unaware losing that farm, so going to make that rotation back over to duo and just have a little bit of a pillow fight for a minute.
Yeah, solo's fighting at 16 minutes, not too much going on, just a bunch of wet newspapers getting thrown around.
Yeah, not the strongest hits at this point, at least against each other, but they are going to continue to duke it out over there. Looks like fighting over that totem, that cooldown buff, going to be kind of exchanging abilities for the next little bit. Kuzenbo looks like they are making the rotation over. Meanwhile, we see the Ares just going towards the backside of Duo. Does spot out that their green buff is not currently up, and not a lot going on at this time except for in the Duo lane. Now we have that rotation in here from the Kuzenbo. It's going to be the 2-on-1, but again, not really enough damage, I would think, to take this Chalk down at least yet. Chalk's still very tanky at this point, able to get out of the mire easily.
Yeah, gets out of the mire and gets out of the watery grave. Good, teleport to Axe to get him away from that. Cthulhu in a world of hurt, already down to no health. Jolt not quite going to be picking that one up. Don't worry, Len is here. He's hitting a little bit of dash, but you dash to Chalk under tower. He's not worried about it.
Yep, and he's going to be able to pick up that one along with this tier 1 in the solo side. And now Ice Age here kind of grouped up. Looks like the Mulan's going to have to back, but this could be a pyro call.
Yeah, could be, should be.
Instead, looks like it's going to be FG.
Call, yeah.
Looks like that is the call here, as we are seeing Ice Age being able to pull this. The closest person here is going to be Jungle Scrub, but it's already down to about 2/3. Jungle Scrub just now getting himself in position, gets spotted out by the Chalk, so going to be zoned pretty effectively. Fire Giant starting to get down to that 20% range, so getting really close. Morgan and LeFay has now showed up around the backside. Good Silence ultimate coming out there, and that's going to give Ice Age the space to be able to confirm that. And now Jungle Scrub going to have to get out of there as quickly as possible, because he is going to be getting ran at by a Fire Giant team. Cthulhu
Oh
now
no,
into the
Dave!
back.
Dave, no! Why are you in
Yeah.
the middle of 5 people?
He is going to have to
Cthulhu.
commit
It doesn't
the ult.
matter. Just
Have to
gonna
commit
walk
the
away.
ult. And that's going to force out the Milan ult as well, and now Milan is the one in the world of hurt. Dave is going to get the shutdown onto that one. Meanwhile, Ice Age elects to give up on that fight, go back and secure that Pyromancer, get the bomb. And now, still 4 members with FG, they can certainly push this mid tower.
Yeah, definitely like them going for that pyro, but I really think that they could have just, knocked Davo down. Sure, he's on a Cthulhu. Sure, he's, the size of your screen, but he still takes damage,
Yeah, absolutely could have been the call there. Didn't have to lose their player in return, and Lenkano did not need to die there, but still, 4 members with Fire Giant buff. Now they are going to go ahead and take this Gold Fury, potentially look at some of these T2 towers in the dual lane. As that Gold Fury is starting to burn, the Primal Fury going to make the next Fire Giant that much easier, and no contest even possible for Going Ghost. That's going to be free for Ice Age to extend that gold lead a little bit further.
Yeah, Ice Age playing this pretty well. Definitely would have liked to see them a little bit further ahead, only looking at about 3,000, kind of been up and down, haven't really been able to push that into anything too substantial yet, but so far they've had a great time. They're getting kills, they're dying less,
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more competitive this time, kind of only that 3 kill deficit. But at this point, you are looking at just those tier 2 towers left. So on both sides, we're looking at this Hachiman getting towards that level 20, sitting at that 2-0. Hachiman elected to be the key bomb carrier. Don't always see the ADC going through that, but will allow T-Pity to split push pretty effectively. If he wants to go take a Phoenix, he can pretty much do that with any one wave.
Yeah, could do that, or could just keep it in his pocket the rest of the game.
More likely, as we see the Cthulhu forced out, did not do a lot, as Dave was already at a substantially low amount of HP there, so that ultimate not finding much value. So he is going to go down there. Nice little another kill for Ice Age as they continue to kind of push forward and really try and prevent what Going Ghost is trying to group up and do here.
Yeah, speaking of value, not seeing the value in this third item Prophetic coming out of Captain Boat. Not really stacking it up yet. Not gonna be having that stacked for quite a while.
Absolutely, only the 3 stacks there, as Ares ult going to be forced out, but it does take it down the Kali beads. Meanwhile, Jungle Scrub fighting too, as in the mid lane we are 2v2 here. Morgan Le Fay getting very low, but a good peel there from Kuzenbo using that dash to push Mulan against the rock. Takes a lot of their health in response and does actually, I believe, commit to Shell there as well. So good team fight, relics down, and a lot of resources being burnt away from Going Ghost.
Yeah, a lot of resources burnt away, and right now there's nothing to worry about. Ice Age has their time to go ahead and say, oh no, we can reset, we can get to a good spot, and then we can punish you for having those relics down. That's another thing that I'd love to see. The Walker division start doing a little bit more, really keeping track of those relics and punishing them when they're down. That's something we don't see too often. You'll see somebody beads, and then for the next 3 minutes they just won't even be looked at. So it's like, gotta make sure
definitely.
we're punishing those relics.
Absolutely can be frustrating here, as for we are fighting around the Gold Fury pit with no Gold Fury here spawn, and Going Ghost looking to fight for the fighting's sake, but have to remember that this Ice Age team still does have FG for the next little bit, actually. But at this point, we are seeing the Gilgamesh come in as the Ares ult in response. A lot of grouping up there from Going Ghost in the team fight as we see the Watery Grave come out, pushing quite a few. But Kuzenbo is going to go down to T-Pity. Now Cthulhu in a bit of trouble, has the cripple, going to be forced into that ultimate, is going to be making their way out. Meanwhile, we have Chalk just running down that Morgan Le Fay, is going to connect with that axe as well. Jolt going to take down Deacon, and now Cthulhu getting very low, is going to need a little bit of space to get out. Has the dash. and looks like just able to get out, but that should open up this tier 2 tower for Ice Age and allow them to take this down. Instead, looks like
Certainly
electing
looking
to...
for it, but there's a Kali here. A lot of low health bars to go after. Jungle Scrub picks up one. Yuki picks up another.
And Jolt's going to respond with taking down Nayuki, but that is an incredible trade there for Going Ghost. Jolt's going to actually secure a double kill, and Dave elected to turn around there, needs to get out of there, and actually gets himself a triple kill, does Jolt, onto to Dave there. So a lot of dying, some back and forths in the fight, but coming out just a little bit ahead is Ice Age. Not able to get that T2 tower, but coming out just a little bit more survived in the numbers game.
I mean, I'd still call that a Going Ghost win. I mean, you know, Ice Age isn't really able to get anything off of that. You know, yeah, sure they get maybe an extra kill or two, but at the end of the day, if they're not able to use it, doesn't matter too much. Do want to look at builds just a little bit. Do have some interesting items that I do like. We do see the Bauble on the Cthulhu. I think Bauble, you know, after that buff, getting rid of its downside, really strong, as well as this Arch Druid's on the Gilgamesh, giving him a lot more burst damage.
Yeah, those items coming in clutch in that last fight, able to almost completely turn the team fight tied in favor of Going Ghost, but just a little bit too much damage at this point coming out from Ice Age. So Going Ghost going to need to continue to farm up, try and reach that late game point, get this Morgan Le Fay into that full build slot. Almost there, just needs the one more item along with that final tier 3 in the starter. And I think that they do have a chance at still running back and getting this game won. It's just going to be a little bit more rough a spot with that Kali not quite there yet. Almost getting that full build online. Doesn't have quite the upgraded starter yet. Still sitting on that T1 of that final bow item. Probably going to be the Silver Branch if I had to guess. But the Gold Fury, meanwhile, being looked at here by Ice Age 2 from Going Ghost and Contest. It is going to be the Kali jumping in. And it's going to be Ares, actually. Kali ult having to come out as well as she gets very low. However, Stapu going to be the first one to fall to Nayuki. Pity is going to use the ult to come in and get one as well. And now Kuzenbo very low. Meanwhile, Mulan able to secure the Oracle Vision. And the rest of Going Ghost is going to elect to take down the Pyromancer instead of that Oni Fury.
Yeah, good from Going Ghost there to recognize. Yeah, we probably shouldn't be fighting them for Gold Fury. You know, we can send one or two people over. Kali does get the trade out. Not the target you want it to be, you know, obviously. ADC for support isn't the greatest trade, but it is something you're capable of, you know, and that's something that Stapu is going to have to worry about. He is able to just be killed due to that Kin's, you know, just absolute shred that is, you know, Lawnmower Kali.
Absolutely. And now we are seeing a little bit of a group up around this Fire Giant. Pity a little bit exposed here, kind of trying to go the back down. The Cthulhu is here, and it's going to force a little bit more rotation out of Ice Age to try and back it up. Pity going to have to try and back here, but elects to cancel it instead. Seeing the response from Going Ghost, we have 4 in the solo lane. It's a 4v4. Meanwhile, those Oni waves are going to keep pushing in just a similar position as last time. And meanwhile, Roderick Grave going to be channeled. Hachimon starting to get low. Cthulhu ult going to be coming out as well. Ton of burst onto Pity on this Hachi. However, it is going to be the first one picked up by Jungle Scrub. And now the Gilgamesh getting quite low as well. In goes the Mulan to try and pick up the Gilga, but is going to be taken down. Jolt is going to get one in response, though. And now Chalk in a little bit of a trouble here. We don't see Ares coming in, and it is actually going to be another one for Deacon getting that one on Captain Boat. And this is going to be a Fire Giant call, potentially, for Going Ghost, as actually they look to maybe secure another pick onto this Ares, who has stepped up a little bit too far. Kali going to be on zone duty here, is going to be able to whittle down this Ares quite a lot. But the Root going to be able to secure that and get them away. Meanwhile, Going Ghost, low health bars, but should be enough to try and make this Fire Giant pull happen. Yu Huang, the only one local. Ares right behind them to try and provide any sort of support. But Yu Huang looking to try and fight now at this point. Does get the Kali, actually going to pick up Nayuki after hitting that Root. And that is too much for Going Ghost to continue that pull.
Yeah, you know, it's just so unlucky. You know, Kali does a great. Jolt, what are we doing, buddy? Are we in?
Jolt, feeling himself a little bit, is going to be able to be taken down quite a bit. Alternate timeline going to be procced, and Cthulhu actually very low as well. Going to need that Ares ult to try and pull a little bit of space, buy some time for that 3 to come back up. Does get it up. Cthulhu still very low at this point. but it's going to take a miracle for Jolt to survive. Does not, and in fact, stop you actually going to go down, but Captain Boat going to pick up Deacon. It is a 2-for-1 in favor of going Ghost. However, now 3 members of Ice Age running down that mid lane, going to be looking for this tier 2 tower, potentially some more picks. They do have to watch that Gilgamesh coming behind them.
Yeah, Gilgamesh is looking to get in there from behind, getting a little bit of damage off. Tower is going to fall, and Gilgamesh is looking like he might be the target of their ire.
Absolutely. Doesn't have the minion wave coming. They are coming a little bit down mid lane, but instead, Ice Age going to elect to kind of peel some of this jungle farm away from going Ghost. Kali does go in onto T-Pity, but they're going to be dropping a lot faster than the damage they're dishing out. Going to force out that ultimate. Is going to let the Kali survive, but another ult, another piece of utility taken down from that ADC, and now Ice Age right back to the farm game, trying to peel away that farm. Cthulhu going to go in, but Chalk here to make sure that there's no real threat onto the Hachiman.
Yeah. Definitely do love that pick, though. The more I look at it, Chalk really does, is a thorn in the side for this Kali, especially with that breastplate glyph. The one that, I can't remember the name of it. I don't think anybody ever builds it, but it just, as soon as you Chalk ult, boom. Everybody's taking 25% less damage from auto attacks. Vigilance, there we go.
Vigilance coming through, being very crucial in these fights, really providing a stopgap into what Going Ghost is trying to do in these fights with that Kali. And you can see it even in the team fights. Those Kali attacks are not coming out as quickly as you would expect. So not getting those lightning procs, not getting that same sort of shred. As we see a group up around the Pyromancer, looks like it is going to be just a slight dance around that. But Ice Age going to be able to secure it without much contestation. A little bit of that Kappa thrown out, but that was it. So we're going to move into the next Fire Giant dance. That's going to be the teleport in from Cthulhu. And we're going to see that next Fire Giant pull, see how we shake out. As Joel's able to take a significant chunk out of Morgan Le Fay's health with just that second ability, doing a lot of damage with that fire. Fire Giant's going to be pulled by Ice Age here, but it looks like they're trying to bait in for a pick rather than commit for the objective. So we see Hachiman coming around the backside, Gilgamesh coming in, going to get that drop kick down onto Ares, but not a ton of follow-up damage there. Meyer going to be dropped onto the Hachiman, but again, no follow-up here for Going Ghost. They can't get into the backline. They're trying to poke, but it's not really leading to as much success as you would think.
That is true, but if Going Ghost is able to poke just a little bit more, this Kali really opens up, could look at a chain kill coming out. So you have to be careful, Even if you're winning the poke battle, it doesn't matter if Kali sees, oh, your health bars are low enough for me to just go in.
Now Mulan kind of providing that exploratory presence. Yuhong going to have to kind of be careful there, as there are several members of Going Ghost waiting around that corner. And we're still seeing this Fire Giant dance. No team getting their pick just yet. No team not really getting any sort of damage on there. Cthulhu getting very low, though, as a result of a few abilities. And now Gilgamesh, after having dove in, is in quite a little bit of trouble. Gets pulled back in. T-Pity going to secure himself the first kill of this fight. And going to get a double kill onto Shrimp Warrior. Now Cthulhu in a little bit of trouble, as well as that Kali getting very low. And it is going to be Boat picking up Naoki. T-Pity getting himself a triple kill onto that Cthulhu. And now it is just that Morgan Le Fay that is left. And she's not long for this world again. He is going to take down Pity, so at least getting one trade in alternate timeline proc. But Joke going to pick themselves up on as well.
Alright, so everybody's dead. You end the game, right?
That would be the call. However, they don't have the ADC, so a little bit concerned on
I don't care if you don't have the ADC. That's the freest end call of my life. Guys,
yeah, at this point,
you guys are walking to
go
EFG with no ADC.
Yep, they're electing to go for that ADC instead. They are going to pull that out. They're going to elect to go for maybe the safer call. I'm not sure. But they are still burning that Fire Giant pretty effectively. I don't think they're going to be able to wait until Pity respawns to make sure they get everybody with FG. But this does mean that they are in that position now. That enhanced Fire Giant, as we're now more than that 30-minute mark, should be able to still push down these objectives, push down the last tower, and get those Phoenixes, kind of close out this game is the plan for Ice Age.
Yeah, definitely not the call I would have made. I think that they very realistically could have just ended there. But,
at least go for the mid Phoenix.
Yeah, you got the mid Phoenix, and then you go to EFG. You take that off the map.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Of course, Ares, I believe, did still have that bomb, so could have,
Hmm.
definitely taken that. If he middle Phoenix at the very least, have those fire waves start to push up, but instead electing to get the fire giant onto 4 of their members, and now electing to kind of finish everything up, getting that Eye of the Jungle on. Sorry, Eye of the Jungle still on Gilgamesh, whereas, excuse me, Mulan has picked up that fully upgraded starter. So being able to do a ton of damage to these objectives is Ice Age at this point. Forcing out that early Cthulhu ult does get value on it, but Ice Age able to clear up that Fury very quickly. And now it's going to be a quick group up.
Oh
Morgan Le
no.
Fay
Oh no.
absolutely
He got pulled.
erased. Absolutely erased off the pole. Len Kanu making that difference there. And Cthulhu not melting per se, but that ultimate did not
Ooh.
find a huge amount of value. And now getting
Amazing
lower
chain
and
comes
lower.
out.
Absolutely shredded. Captain Boat going to be able to get the credit for that one. And now we are seeing Ice Age going to march right into that Phoenix. That Phoenix is going to go down quick as soon as Pity steps in. Does not have the Fire Giant, does Pity, but that does not matter. Now Jungle Scrub going to be taken down on that Gilgamesh, and that should be the door that Ice Age needs to get that Phoenix down. Indeed, that is going to be the fall. And Kuzenbo having to commit the Watery Grave is going to get the chains all the way from Ares, so not a lot of more follow-up. Kali going to go in with the ultimate to try and get Pity, but good body blocks coming out from the team, and Pity actually going to get credit for the kill onto Nayuki there. And it looks like this will be the end call. Only the Kuzenbo left for another little bit of time. 5 seconds left on Morgan. Shrimp going to get 2 right away, but that Titan starting to melt, already down to half health. Kuzenbo also down to half health. Morgan is here to put up the defense, but still shredding. Jolt is going to be able to pick up Shrimp there. Deacon picks up Lenkanu, and that it looks like it is the call on the retreat, unless Jolt gets the kill, but not enough damage onto the Morgan Le Fay. Left Phoenix goes down, but a good job there by Deacon on this Morgan to try and save that game.
Yeah, definitely. If there's a god that's going to be able to to deal with that, it's going to be that Morgan Le Fay. I guess maybe a Merlin also, able to put out that much damage, but the CC from that Morgan Le Fay just goes crazy there, and game definitely opened up for Ice Age. Going Ghost gonna have to be very careful with what they're doing here.
Able to secure the beacon away is Dave, just getting that last little point of capture before Jolt can show up and force him away. Eats a couple abilities, but not going to be feeling too bad about that after securing a little bit of objective damage, trying to clear out that tower. Just get whatever you can as far as
Not
farm
feeling
or
too
gold.
bad. I'm feeling real bad after that. He hit me with 3 abilities and I lost half my health. That hurt. That's mean.
Yeah, but still alive, so able to at least get another little camp before having to go back. As in the meantime, Ice Age grouping up around the solo side looking for this last tower, probably the Phoenix. And I think depending on how this fight goes, this could be the last fight of the game. So we'll have to see how Going Ghost responds. So we see 3 members of Ice Age kind of pushing way down into that lane. Could be a pincher here if Going Ghost is wise to it.
Yeah,
Low bit of
definitely could be
response.
in a tough spot. I mean, definitely a little bit uncoordinated here. Looks like Devo might be
Instead,
their target though.
yeah, instead Going Ghost a little bit of scattered on the setup there. Didn't go right to the lane. Now the full 5v5 fight breaking out. Dave forced into that ultimate early, and a lot of poke being thrown the way of Going Ghost. And that probably is going to open up this T2 tower. They do still have the Fire Giant. Gilgamesh putting up a very soft defense, but I would not be stepping up to a T2 tower
Yeah,
at this point.
realistically that could be the Phoenix. No Watery Grave available, no Cthulhu ult available, and those minions on left are starting to march in.
Absolutely could be the case here. Hachiman going to elect to try and hit some of those long range autos. Doesn't connect on any with the Morgan Le Fay, it looked like, but this Phoenix is still under threat because those fire waves are going to continue to pour down Duo, at least for the next little bit of time. Instead, though, it looks like Ice Age is going to go back to this Fire Giant potentially, looking to maybe bait somebody out for a pick. If not, secure that last Fire Giant. Hopefully, they can just use this one to push that to the end. Looks like they're going to go for the Pyro before the Fire Giant spawns just to have that extra bomb in hand.
Yeah, bombs definitely do help. You know, even 2 bombs, that's 2,400 damage on the Titan. That's a lot of damage. 2,400 on a Phoenix, 2,400 on a Titan does just so much work. And I say looking for the fight rather than the EFG. Don't blame them. They're buying time with that, left wave. And that wave is getting pretty close to that Phoenix. Gonna have to worry about that one.
And that is going to have to force Cthulhu back to deal with that Phoenix, or excuse me, deal with that wave just so that they can try and keep the Phoenix. But he's going to have another fire wave coming up. That's the go button for Ice Age. They pull when it was only the Gilgamesh here right now to kind of respond to it. It's going to be the Yuong hold. It is going to come out. Len Kanu actually going to pick up Gilgamesh, the jungle scrub going down. And now we have the fight breaking out. Going to be a little bit of a peel attempt. Ares ult also coming out. Is going to pull back in Deacon, who is going to fall to T-Pity on this one now. Looking very tough here for Going Ghost. Only 3 members left to defend, and Ice Age going right for the right Phoenix. Meanwhile, their left Phoenix has already gone down due to those fire waves already coming through. So more fire minions going to be coming down duo, and that right Phoenix is already gone. One of those bombs looks like both bombs actually committed on the Phoenix here. So we are seeing the Titan coming through under attack. It is the end call. Dave going to go into the ultimate to try and defend, but there is not a lot of health left on the Titan, and we are going to see Ice Age take game 2 as well, coming out with the set in a nice 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, just good, clean game. Going Ghost had a really good start in the early game. They had that 5-0 lead and just weren't able to convert it in that mid game to get themselves a big lead. Just a couple good plays from Ice Age brings it back to neutral, and they just keep it on from there. Just slowly whittle it out, and I mean, great end from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jolt putting in another impressive performance, this time on that Yu Huang, going 12-2, continuing to lead his team to victory here. Another really good performance from T-Pity as well. Kind of once we got into those team fights, just knew that he would, kind of scale and be able to provide that long range damage, having himself quite the game as well. Alongside Len Kanu also being able to pump out damage onto that Mulan jungle. So definitely a good, strong showing here from Ice Age, going up against a tough team that was pulling out some non-standard stuff that could be hard to deal with.
Yeah, definitely prove that they can, deal with those non-standard Keem comps there, and I think that wraps it up pretty much. Do have a couple sets for you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's been absolutely great. This was a really fun set to watch. I've been Paradox, and joining me here has been Ruler of Men, and I've had a great time. Thank you for coming on the cast with me.